Hey, Gary. How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning. Did you just roll out of bed?
Well, I'm not one to gossip, but no, I've been up for a couple hours.
Oh, I wanted to gossip. I wanted to talk about the roll in the bed.
Well, when I get one, I'll let you know.
I thought you'd ask somebody to leave cash on the nightstand before they left.
Right. Yeah. They did. No. Totally kidding. Please.
How's your weekend going?
It's good. You know, we're definitely in winter. Here in the Bay Area, this is day 5 of a reported 5-day storm, although it's clear out right now.
I heard you were getting pummeled with rain.
Friday was really the day that was pretty bad. I mean, that's the day I was thankful that I no longer have to get in my car and drive across the Golden Gate Bridge to work. Yes. I could stay home because every time I looked out the window, it was a downpour. And there were streets that were flooding, and some of the highways were flooding, road closures, and it's pretty bad. But I'm not sure what's coming this week, but it is winter.
Well, speaking of that, they better not stop my wine from shipping out of Sonoma, because I ordered some wine over the weekend, so they better get it out.
You've got your priorities.
Over to me. And I mean, that's all that matters to me right now. So what are we talking about this week?
Well, we have a guest coming on shortly, and we'll have a nice conversation with her.
Yes. Well, we know who we know, and if you know, you know.
Exactly.
And ain't nobody got time for that, as the
Ain't nobody got time for that.
So we're going to take a short little break and come back, or what's the
Yeah, we're going to take a short little break and come back, get the money off the nightstand, and we'll be right back. Don't forget to count it. No singles this time, only 5s and 20s. 10s, 5s, and 20s. How much did you get?
Oh, please.
Oh,
I'm not one to count the cash.
Okay. Well,
I trust that it's all there.
As long as you can make the rent, the mortgage payment, that's all that matters. Welcome to Don and Gary Doing 60. I'm Ivana Huvaha. And you are?
Phil McCracken.
We're here to unwrap and unpack navigating the world at
60?
No, this age, whatever that is. You can.
Well,
find
I'm
us
62. How old are you?
I'm trying to read something here, so I'll tell you that later. But you can find us on Apple Podcasts.
Go off script.
You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever amazing podcasts are found. We're on Instagram at Don and Gary Doing 60. And if you want to see the actual goods, like Gary showed last night, you can see us on YouTube on Pfeiffer Pod. So if you look at Pfeiffer Pod and look for Don and Gary Doing 60, that's how you find us, because we've got some feedback that you might not be able to find the podcast easily on YouTube. So Pfeiffer Pod, Don and Gary Doing 60, and we're done.
And then once you subscribe, then it'll come up all the time.
Exactly. So subscribe. No pressure.
Please. No pressure.
So anyway, yes, it's been a fun week. It's actually, what's funny? It's finally gotten to the point here where the weather has shifted, because I was wearing shorts to work and all the time throughout the day at the end of November, because this is basically, the week before Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like, come on, let's get cold already. I got some cashmere to put on, because I can't, I was wearing shorts, but you've been pummeled a little bit, and I'm sure you've been wearing sweaters for months or weeks.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've got the sweatshirt on. I've actually brought out the blanket when I sleep, because before it's just like the sheet and the comforter, but no, I had to add that extra layer. So, and I wear socks because my feet get really cold when I'm sleeping. Mm-hmm. So now I have to wear socks.
Look at you all grown up wearing socks with a blanket.
I know, right?
That's why I got dogs. They just sleep on me. It's kind of the same thing. It's not great in summer, but during the wintertime it's actually good. Keeps it all warm. So, yeah, I'm excited about bringing back this segment. It's been very popular. We've had a lot of requests to join, so I'm excited that we are bringing more people into it, because we have another couple of people booked in and a couple in the can.
That's right.
I love having it in the can, don't you?
Yes. Having it in the can is good.
It's a euphemism, people. Please,
Okay.
don't take us there.
So I watched our last episode, and I need to comment on something. It's not about you, it's about me.
Okay.
For those that I think no, because beginning of October we closed our office. We decided not to renew our lease, so now I'm working from home. What that meant was I had to bring a lot of stuff from the office home with me, and we have storage units downstairs, but there aren't any that are available now. So I'm basically on a wait list. So until then, all that stuff is in my condo, and I don't have a big condo. So what I noticed was on the last episode that I watched on YouTube, if both of us are on camera, it's great because it's a close-up. But if it's just me, you see my background, and you see all this crap back there, and it's like task chair vinyl.
I
blah,
saw
blah,
that,
blah. I'm like,
actually.
those are samples that I sent out to clients. So now what I did was I covered it with a lovely holiday-ish tablecloth, so that at least it looks a little festive.
No,
But
I
that's
saw
not
it
normally.
last time.
Oh, I know. Oh, I noticed it. I was so embarrassed. So
Oh no, it's just like looks like your office space, and I think what you should do is charge your employer for rental of an office, and charge it to.
well, no. When I get storage space downstairs, the company will pay for that.
Oh, they will. Oh, that's good.
Well, I'm not paying for it.
Well, somebody's going to pay for it in one way or another.
I pay for it all the time, honey. Let me tell you. But anyway, so that's my story about that. I do have some news. Hopefully, I'm not speaking out of turn. But our family grew by one more because my nephew and his wife had a baby boy yesterday.
Oh,
So the Pagaris name will live on
it's
another generation.
growing too, isn't it?
Well, this is my mom's second great-grandchild.
Wow.
And then my older brother, this is his first grandchild. So yeah, that's nice. They live in Southern California, and oddly enough, my older brother, his firstborn, his daughter, was born on his birthday. So they share the same birthday.
Wow.
So now his son, Justin, who got married several years ago, he and his wife had a baby, and their son was born on Justin's birthday. So father and son have the same birthday, just like his dad and his.
It's kind of funny because it runs in line with the numerology thing we're talking about turning 62, 1962, and
Right.
all that kind of stuff too. Because it's interesting, and also, does that make you a great uncle?
I think so.
Because you're an uncle to your nephew,
Right.
and that means if they've had a child, that means
Well, I'm a great uncle to him too. So
you're a great uncle to everybody.
I'm a great uncle to everybody. And for even people I'm not related to, some kids of friends call me Uncle Gary, just
Oh.
because I've been in their lives all their lives. So,
Should I call you Uncle Gary?
No. Well, because I'm not your uncle.
You're not that great. You started. Oh wait, I started this. Sorry.
You did.
But it's interesting to see that happen with all your family just growing and growing.
So I have a question for you.
Sure.
Change the subject.
I'm great.
Since we are the week leading into Thanksgiving, have you done any of your holiday decorations yet?
Well, it depends on which holiday you're gearing towards, because I am a big fan of Thanksgiving, and we always say don't give Thanksgiving the shaft, hashtag don't give Thanksgiving the shaft, because it needs its due respect, because everyone goes right from Halloween with Full Tilt Boogie and right into Christmas. So I'm working on my lighting design for the holiday. So it means that we deck out the house, but it's going to be for Thanksgiving because we're having, I think, 8 people over for
Oh,
dinner.
okay.
And then the day after, we go on Full Tilt Boogie, as the kids say, for Christmas. So yes, it's happening. I have decided not to wrap our pepper tree in the front of the house because last time I almost fell off a ladder. I'm almost 50, 60, 70, so I don't want to fall off a ladder again. So we're not wrapping that tree because it's very tall, and I get on a very tall ladder and sort of shake and hope that I don't fall out of the tree.
Pay a neighborhood kid to do it.
Well, that would, yeah. Actually, that's not a bad idea. But we're chopping that tree down next year anyway, so.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess because I've been working from home, I have more time here. So I will tell you that actually, I haven't sent them out yet, but a couple weeks ago, I already did my holiday cards.
Oh,
They are written, stamped, addressed. They are at the door. I'll probably put them out this week.
good for you.
My holiday tree is up year round, even though it's not decorated for the holidays.
Yes, it is a major topic when we discuss it.
It's a silver tree, so it's up and decorated. Um,
Can you send me a picture of it so we can add it to the podcast?
oh, sure.
Whatever
I
state
have,
it's in right now.
I have Christmas lights that are, because I have such tall ceilings and exposed pipes, I've got Christmas lights that are strung year-round, so I only turn them on this time of year, so they're up already. And
Didn't
what
you
else?
used
I
to
have
theme
my,
you used to theme that tree out too, didn't you? Like you do for different, like President's Day,
well, that was the
Valentine's
intent. When I bought it in Palm Springs several years ago and realized how difficult it was to assemble because you have to put in every single branch individually, and I'm like, I'm not taking it apart and then putting it back together the next year. So it's been up. I've had it for, I don't know, 8 years. And so one time when I had a party, it just went in the bathtub.
where it belongs.
This year, when I did my party for my 20th anniversary of having purchased this condo, I put the tree out. It was out and proud, and on the invitation said, "Bring an ornament for my tree."
Oh,
So
smart.
there's some assorted ornaments that people gave me from that, and then I added Christmas ornaments to fill it out.
Well, please do send me a picture of it because I'd like to make sure that all our hundreds of thousands of listeners can see this tree that's up all year long.
And I even gift wrap my fireplace.
Okay, I need a picture of that too.
Yeah, I just put wrapping paper in front.
So
with
you're a
some
fan
bows.
of decorating for Christmas before Thanksgiving?
Normally I'd wait till probably the week of or weekend after, but I was here and
No, I get it.
I needed
get it.
something to
No,
do.
I get it. Some people here were decorating for Christmas right after Halloween, so their Christmas lights went up. Yeah, there were snowmen, inflatable Santas, all that stuff.
Plus, I have a house guest coming the first week of December, so I figure I want to
Okay.
have it decorated so
Nice,
they will have a nice day.
nice.
Yeah, so I've gotten ahead of the game in that respect.
But you're so good at that. You're always very organized.
I'd like to, but
Did you do a newsletter, or was it just a card saying?
No,
"Here's
just
$5"?
quick, No, no, I did not put in cash this time.
Don't
I
write me a
like
check for
receiving
$5.
cash. I don't like
want
giving
cash.
cash.
I want
No.
cash in my card this time.
Yeah.
All right.
I just no newsletter because usually when I travel, that's a big, nice opportunity to write a poem or a Christmas letter. But I didn't really travel much this year, so it's kind
Very
of quiet.
Sweet of you. Very sweet of you.
What about you? What's going on in your life?
Well, I'm trying to get on top of the card thing because I didn't send out last year. Usually we just take a picture over at CVS and send them out. Oh, look there's a lady to our left or right. Who is that lady?
It is I, Christine Freeman.
It is
hey,
Christine Freeman. What a surprise. We didn't expect you to be joining us, but ain't nobody got time for that.
It's so nice to see you guys.
It's so
I
nice
know.
to see you.
Oh, it is good to see you. Or it is good to see me, isn't it?
Always.
Just kidding.
So, Christine, thank you for being with us. We've known you since at least high school. I'm trying to think, what middle school did you go to?
You and I were
Went to
in
Burrell.
The same classes, I think, in 8th grade.
So it's been a minute.
Yeah.
And Don was asking when was the last time I saw you. I figured it had to be one of our gatherings, but I don't know which one.
Yeah, it was a high school friends gathering. You are usually the gatherer.
He's good at that.
And
Guilty.
yeah, and it's just delightful to have like the opportunity to hang out with you guys.
Well, thank you
I've
so
been
much.
a
We really
fan of your
appreciate it.
previous work.
Oh, well,
Well,
thank you.
we get that a lot. So I have to say, and I'm going to pay you, I mean, I don't know if this is going to make you uncomfortable, Christine, but I have to say, I always, even in my memories of first meeting you and all the time, I always felt that you were a very, and I'm not being coy, but a very interesting person who was very full of their personality and very aware of who they were all the time. I mean, you just kind of stood out to me as someone who had a true, almost ironic kind of twist on things. And I mean, I just remember a lot of things that we pulled back. I mean, there's the clown shoes, which I still love. This woman owns clown shoes, and she wears and she puts them out once in a while, and she actually shows them. And then sorry, I'm going down a little memory tube here, but didn't you also buy the rat from an exterminator in San Mateo? Was that you? There's a little
did.
rat. Yes.
I did. I bought it at the Oakland Museum White Elephant sale. And
How big is the rat?
it's about this big.
Yes. Now, Gary, I don't know if you remember, but there was an exterminator in San Mateo that had a big rat on top of a pole, and Christine somehow secured the rat, I guess the mascot, in a smaller version.
I always wanted one of those because you would
That's
see them on the
hilarious.
trucks. And
Yes.
and there was a big one on the building, and then each truck had, is it Western Exterminator? I can't recall.
I think so.
Anyway, I've always had a thing for advertising characters, and that one just really stood out. So now he has pride of place on in front of my fireplace.
Yeah, and that's how I knew
Wow.
this person knows their truth. If they get their rat and show it on social media saying, "Look, I got it," and I'm sure a lot of us who actually lived in the area said, "Oh my God, I know exactly who that is or where that was." So, but again, thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure to talk with you. And I said I don't want to say admired you, but I always felt you stood out with the person that you are.
You're so
I'm not
kind.
being ironic about that, but you were a little bit ironic too. You had a little, I don't know, oomph to your personality, as I recall, and you kind of just stood out to me.
Well, I remember that you stood right in front of me in choir, and you and I were always laughing.
When I wasn't cutting class.
Not you, Tom.
Oh yeah, I know. Anyway, so how are you, Christy?
I'm good. I'm excited to
Yeah,
be
you
here.
look
I'm a little
amazing.
nervous.
Are you? No, nothing. Don't be nervous of Gary. He
We'll be
doesn't bite
kind.
much.
We'll be
He-
kind
yeah.
and gentle.
Gary, I know you will be kind.
Oh,
I'm not sure what she's talking about.
so I have a question because you recently had a birthday. Yes, last week I think.
I did.
Well, happy birthday.
Yes.
And happy birthday to you two as well. Recent birthdays.
Yes.
I'm very proud of you both for being your age. There's
Well,
nothing
hence the
wrong
name
with it,
of the
people.
podcast, right? No, nothing wrong with it.
And I think when Christina were speaking yesterday for a quick few minutes, she said, "Thank you for coming out of the closet of your 16."
Yeah, we're not shy about it anymore.
Well, I mean, if I could just jump in, does it make a difference to you? Is a number a thing for you? Is it holding a placeholder in your life, turning whatever age you turn?
No, oh, we are all the same age. We are 62.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, no, I don't think I've ever felt that thing, except wanting to be older when I was younger. And I remember, because I work with a lot of people who are much younger than I am, and I remember when I turned 50, I was like, this rocks. Like, this is almost the most outrageous thing I can do, is be 50.
So when you were younger, what was the idea of being why did you want to be older? What was something that you were missing or had a goal? I mean,
It was
what?
probably wanting to get out of our hometown and start something. And my siblings are older than I am by 8, 12, and 14 years, and they had already started their lives doing things and were in the middle of their lives, and I wasn't.
So you're the youngest of four.
Yeah,
As am I.
yeah, I'm the baby that saved the marriage.
Okay.
Oh,
That's a
you're
quote
that
from
kid.
my mother, and my father's quote is, "It did not need saving."
Okay.
Okay.
So you two went to Burrell Middle School, 8th grade, and then we all kind of conjoined in high school. And Gary, you weren't part of the choir.
I was not. I
But-
couldn't sing worth any. Still can't.
Oh.
Never,
Well,
never
I'm-
had that talent.
But you guys were part of like the theater crowd, and I think,
That's
you
how it
know,
starts.
like Don's kind of in the middle of the Venn diagram on that one, because we would all sit together at lunch.
And I would work in the theater, but never on stage. I was I was part of the crew. I was behind the scenes, trying to make him laugh on stage.
And you know, Christine, we talked about high school too, but maybe we did talk a little bit about something. If I could ask you to do it again and kind of share with us about there was a course or course that was offered was it Burrell or it was Burrell, where he talked about proclivities towards your future employment or what
my
you would
goodness.
be when you grew up?
So I have a vivid memory of this class, and it was in this classroom that Madame Ricotti taught in. And it was, I don't know what the class was, but every once in a while there would be a segment where they play a film strip, which if you don't know what that is, the internet is there for you to look it up. Anyway, so they would play these like instructional things and about different professions. And I very vividly remember the one about being a mail carrier. And so this is what your mailman does, because he's always a guy. And, you know, like he carries this thing and he drives around in this truck, and maybe you want to be one yourself. It's really important. And then we had to do an exercise in which we were asked to find, they gave us a piece of paper with a street grid on it, and we had to find the most efficient way to deliver the mail to all of the houses. And then at the end of it, it was like showing you your aptitude for being a mail carrier.
So they had the school was trying to push people into becoming mail carriers for their career choice.
Right.
In 8th grade.
In 8th grade. And so I came home and I'm like, Mom, I didn't understand this whole, I don't understand. And Mom said, that's okay, because you're going to be a dental hygienist. My parents decided that being a dental hygienist was the best job ever. And sometimes I think she was right. I mean, she tried to tell me things that I wouldn't really understand, like, you know, you can make your own hours. It's very transportable, so you could go live in different places. It pays well. You like teeth.
We all like our teeth. So that was interesting, though. But I was also during that time when we were growing up, in that most times a dental hygienist would be a female or a woman,
Yes.
right? And that was kind of something that people expected to be, like a stewardess would be a woman,
Right.
back in the day. So it's interesting that your mom might have thought that would be something you'd be good at.
I was never really clear about what my path was going to be. So, and I didn't have really good, I didn't have good, role models at home.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my dad sold insurance rather unsuccessfully. My mom cared for us in the home and did it spectacularly. And I just I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. I just knew that I needed to get out of there.
Gary, did you ever take that test?
No, I don't remember that at all.
Well, you didn't go to Madame Waka Waka, whatever her name
Madame
was.
Ricotti.
That's
See, I don't
actually-
even recognize that name.
Well, we'll get to that later.
Yeah, where was I?
I don't know. I
Gosh,
just
I don't
remember
remember.
standing in that one classroom with you and you and I having banter. So, like when we were 13. I
Yeah.
remember weird stuff, and that's partially why I think I'm kind of...
No, I have a pretty good memory, and I'm always bringing up stories to Don that he doesn't remember how I remember them. Some things just stick with you.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's been a few years. So I was going to ask you. So we already said that the number didn't mean anything. So that means that I assume that means that turning a certain age of 40, or 50, or 60 didn't really have any ramifications. Yeah, same for me. I did not really have any issues with it. So when I turned 50, I made a big deal about it, and I had a party here for locals, and then I planned a trip to Italy with friends. We rented a house in the countryside of Italy, and then for my 60th, I did a big party, and catered and everything. So while on the one hand, I don't like to put a lot of tension on me, I wanted to do that just to gather family and friends and
Totally.
kind of celebrate it. So for any of your 50 or 60, did you anything big, anything memorable?
I did. On my 50th, we did two things. My brother-in-law and I are the same age, and I'm Christine, he's Christophe, and he and my sister live in Minnesota, so it's really, they couldn't come out for both Christmas and Thanksgiving. So, and our birthdays, his is in October, mine's in November. So we decided we were going to have Chrisgiving, and we used it as an excuse to have family and a few friends gather in San Mateo. And yeah, we put together some keynotes, and it was very fun. And then I did three things. I had a birthday at my house, which we don't have parties. I think my husband and I have maybe had 3 parties our entire lives together. So yeah, I had sumo Sunday because I love sumo. And so I had sumo going in the corner, and people came over and watched sumo with us. And then we went to Disneyland.
Really?
Nice.
Yeah. So we did all those things, and I haven't had a significant birthday since.
Did you enjoy Disneyland?
I did. Actually, Disneyland happened first, and I was in line with my husband for a ride, and I saw this kid, and he put his face on the handrail and just like licked the handrail all the way up the up the line, and I was like, we're all gonna die. And sure enough, I got the worst strep of my life. So on Christgiving, I only had enough voice to narrate my keynote, and after that, it was just like, cheers.
Wow.
What kid's licking a rail in a friggin' public park?
Rail lickers. I mean,
I never
rail
liked that.
it was, and this is way before COVID. I'm like, this is how it happens, people.
I think we have the title for the episode now. We're going to call it Rail Lickers.
Totally.
Calling all rail lickers.
So you dropped a couple of nuggets too, Christine, last time, and I wanted to ask you to talk about them a little bit. But you were in, or still are, in a rock band?
It's been a while.
Okay,
So-
but you were in one.
Yeah, so, I graduated from college with a degree in medieval studies. Wait, nobody laughed. Everybody laughs.
Well, I'm trying to be supportive, and
We're just nodding our heads, going, mm-hmm.
You guys are too nice.
I was like, what the hell?
Right.
Like, how do you even how do you decide that you would like to study medieval, I guess, history?
Yeah, I was in a reenactment group, and it was super fun, and I really loved history and the period, and I just wanted to immerse myself in it. There wasn't really an end goal. I think my dad would ask me, what are you going to do with your life? And I'd say, I don't know. Maybe I'm going to pump gas.
Or you're going to quote things from medieval history while you're cleaning someone's teeth.
Precisely.
Right?
Because they can't go anywhere.
Precisely. Oh, I like that. Maybe there's still time.
Mm-hmm. See? Reinvention. It happens
Yeah.
all the time.
They didn't have one of these back in the medieval times.
No one even had teeth back then.
Here's your stick. Yeah, so that primed me for nothing, and I waited tables.
Now you're getting the laughs.
So I waited tables for 10 and a half years. So I ended up dating a guy who was a musician, and at one point he started a band, and I was like, me too, and he was like, yeah. And then I was in that band for a very short amount of time, but he introduced me to his ex-girlfriend, and she and I shared an interest in this one musical artist, and that kind of bonded us. And I started playing bass with her, and she played guitar. We both sang. We played in in bands in the city, clubs in the city, and so for a couple of years, that's what we did. And then, we ended up singing with the guy that we both had an interest in singing with. So that was Chris Isaac.
Oh, wow.
Oh, you sang with Chris Isaac?
Yeah.
What?
On that one.
Name drop.
Is he queued up close too?
Very. It was hard for me to keep it cool.
Disturbing. I get it.
But so we sang with him in the studio on Heart-Shaped World, and that's what the song Wicked Game was on. And it was super fun. I mean, it was like dream come true kind of stuff. It came out on a major label. The record sank like a stone. It was sad for a year. So what's funny is at our 10-year high school reunion, I was in a sad state. The restaurant where I was working had just closed. My boyfriend dumped me. And then I was super proud of this recording sessions that we had done, and they disappeared without a trace. But several months later, the song became a huge hit, and so that was amazing. And to this day, I hear it, and at the very end of the song, I'm the higher of the two harmonies, and at the very end of the song, when he's singing with a girl who sounds like she's 12, that is me.
No. Well, I gotta go listen to that now.
Well, I know.
I'll be right back.
Yeah.
See ya. See, these are all these really interesting little nuggets about your life, which is why I also call you out for being this person that's very true to themselves. Because you have a rat figurine from someone. You also are very interested in sumo, because I see you posting that quite a bit. And also, I think you also play the ukulele too, don't you? Are you a fan of Hawaiian music?
Yes, those are all true things.
Or all of those things?
I haven't really played since the pandemic. But yes, I own like 6 ukuleles.
Wow,
And
ukuleles. I'm sorry.
so, when I was dating the musician guy and working in a restaurant, there was a music store going out of business, and they had these ukuleles for a deep discount. And I was like, that is the cutest instrument ever. I am going to buy one, and I'm either going to learn to play it or I'm going to make it into a hat.
And she did both.
So I quasi-learned to play it, and then I bought like good instruments, good ukuleles, and I didn't really play them, but a friend at work was in an ukulele band, and I kind of let it be known that I had some ukuleles, and he was like, well, why aren't you playing them? And I was like, Anyway, he said, come to class with me, and I did. And so for 5 years, I think it was around 5 years, I was in this class. It was, they'd hand out music, and we'd learn chugga, learn how to play. Auntie and uncle, their repertoire was a lot of Hawaiian music in the Hawaiian language, as well as sort of territorial period mix of English and Hawaiian music, and we just learned how to play by just playing together. And so we would play out, and it was really great. It was super great. So and then eventually we graduated from that band, which meant in our leaders' language, that meant they kicked us out. So they kicked us out, and our friends who were in that band, a tight group of us, formed a different band where we played a mix of music in English, Hawaiian, Tahitian, and we mostly played in our kitchen. And we've been friends ever since. So this group of people, they're my dear, dear friends. And so it evolved. And at work,
I have to say, I have to ask this one last question because I'm not familiar. But you play an ukulele up here, but you play a bass down here.
correct.
And so you're. Is it basically the same skill? I mean, I'm sure it's different strings. No, because how many strings does an ukulele
They're both
have?
4. You hear,
Four.
so,
Okay.
but the tuning is different. So you hear, I know a lot of bass players who are also ukulele players. And now there's, everybody plays an ukulele. But yeah. And at work, we also had a band. And we also had a choir. So, where music has been, I have followed.
It sounds like it because that's what it was interesting to me because I thought, oh, I forgot about this and I remembered that and it's to me I'm sorry I'm just fangirling about you a little bit right now because you seem quite fascinating to me.
I'm so unworthy.
No,
Oh,
please.
stop.
Oh, shut up. Gary's unworthy. You're worthy.
Hello, I'm on the podcast.
Are you in? Okay.
I know. Yeah, I've arrived.
So I have a question.
Okay.
Because in listening to your story, there's been so much music involved in your life. Yet when you went to college, was music any part of your studies or goals or anything?
I've been such a follower in a lot of these stories. So I had a roommate who was auditioning for the choir, and since in high school I'd been in the big choir and the madrigal choir. Don, were you in madrigals?
No, I wasn't good enough. I was cutting class.
We had so much fun. And I'm sure you had fun where you were as well. But I had a roommate who was auditioning for the choir, and so I did also. And so
Okay.
it was awesome. I think I did it for 2 years, and it was I loved it because I loved the repertoire.
I was going to say, was that when you were studying medieval studies? Because don't they play the lute? And isn't that a string instrument also?
That is.
See, I know a lot. I'm not just this.
You are following along closely.
Don, you're so much more.
Yeah, no, and then I was, going to the record store and buying, like classical guitar of records of the period and Ravi Shankar and so I was learning about different kinds of music as well. Not that I didn't have a Leo Sayer record also.
Who didn't? You had mentioned something too, back to like your trajectory to 62. You had mentioned that you had to make a decision. I think it was about your decision to study medieval studies. That if you didn't make a decision about something, that your life was going to happen to you rather than you taking charge of it.
This was a little later. So
Okay.
while I was working in restaurants in Berkeley, and I was playing bass in bands, and eventually, playing bass in other different bands. And I developed a repetitive stress injury really bad at work. And so I had to stop working, and I had to repair my body. So I had like upper extremity issues, and so I couldn't do anything. I couldn't operate a doorknob without like 2 hands and super
Really?
gently,
Oh, wow.
for example. So I, couldn't play music, couldn't do anything. But I qualified for workers' comp, and that sent me to vocational rehab. And voc rehab was such a gift. So I got to work with a really wonderful woman, and she put me through my paces. She interviewed me. She made me write down stories about things that where I was using skills that like reinforced myself and made me feel good about what I was doing. And she taught me that I would be able to that what I should be trying to do is finding the best intersection of my aptitudes and my interests. But I didn't really know what they were. So I went to the library, and we had this incredibly tiny one-room library in the town that I lived in. And I picked up this huge book, which was called The Directory of Occupational Titles. And I read every page of it was just like a listing of different job titles. And it obviously expansive. It was a big darn book. And I wrote down like everything that interested me that I thought that maybe I could learn how to do. And so that was the kind of thing that I did when this change was forced on me. And I really did feel like this is a disastrous situation. I don't know how I'm going to make money. I don't know what my body will let me do. But if I don't make a choice, the choice will happen to me. So I just had to put all of my research skills into finding a new way of life. So, my big joke was, I'm going to have to learn how to lift things with my mind.
Oh, that's a good one.
Because, from the neck down, I wasn't doing so well. So, anyway, it was an approach that I've used in the rest of my life.
But that was a point of reinvention for you, wasn't it? I mean, you also discovered some way of actually doing the research. Because again, let me understand. This book literally had job titles in it. That was its sole purpose, to hold job titles.
Then you have to learn about the jobs.
And was that part of your own reinvention? Did you decide to go down that path to find a direction, a new direction?
Yeah, I had to.
Or was that
because I was unemployed. I was on disability. As I recall, at the height of my disability, it paid me $636 a month. So, yeah, luckily we lived in this tiny little refinery town and managed to, live on rice and expired tasty meals, Indian food in a pouch with the occasional carrots. Anyway, yeah, so then you had to research, what does it mean? What is this job? And the internet was really in its infancy then, but I was already an adopter. And so I found the corresponding website that told you, this is what this job does. These are the skills that you need. These are the job requirements. And also back then, in the newspapers, there were classified ads. So I would look at the classified ads and think about here's a job that I think I might like. How do I get from where I am to what you need to do this job? So that's kind of how I've operated ever since. Like, okay, well, that looks hard, but how do we get from here to there? Where am I? So I also did some really deep personal assessment. Okay, what am I working with here? Okay, well, that's not great. Okay. But I was doing this with a job counselor who was helping me see the worth in what functional skills I had already developed. So
I just think it's a very interesting way to get from point A to point B. It's very interesting how you chose that.
I think one of my superpowers is my curiosity and it also is very distracting, but I learn a lot.
Which is funny because one of my questions is, what are your superpowers? And you kind of just gave that to
Oh.
us, so I appreciate that.
Oh yeah.
No, that's okay.
Curiosity, humor, I guess. The ability to see, the willingness to see humor in situations, because that's a choice.
Right.
And the ability to know what people are gonna want to know in 10 years.
Yeah.
So, and that helps me make selections in my job.
So, if I could, when it comes to where we are in our lives right now, so we're basically labeled as boomers or baby boomers
Gross.
right now. I know, right? And I don't know who decided that or who made that up.
And nobody likes
But,
the category they're in. So, I mean,
I know, but
yeah.
I guess I guess my question is too. I'm assuming you are exposed to quite a few millennials, Gen Xers, Gen Zs, and now Alpha's the new group that's coming up as children. And I'm not sure who labels this. So do you ever fall into that trope of labeling people or noticing behaviors from certain generations? Because we're considered boomers. We're supposed to be like, barely know how to handle a telephone or a phone, an iPhone, or electronics. So that's a typical thing. Have you noticed that in your exposure to these different groups of people?
I work with a lot of kind people.
Okay.
And so I don't pretend to know things that I don't know. I'm like, oh, come on, I'm old, help me. And again, using humor, it's like, I recognize that I need you young people.
To help me to answer the phone.
Well, eventually I get kind of good at the technology, but yeah, that was one thing I had to learn when I was in school.
You could also explain to them what a film strip projector is.
I could.
I know, but nobody would know what it is because, I remember what they are too. But
like I
nobody else
said,
does.
if they're curious people, they can look it up on the interwebs.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm sure there's somebody out there on YouTube who wants to demonstrate it. Also, I bet there's some YouTube channel that it will actually show you the exact one that makes you learn how to be a mail carrier. By the way, I've always really dug the shorts, and they also have great benefits.
True, and the socks. They get socks too.
Yeah.
And they get that cool safari hat.
I love it all.
It's tempting.
And let's talk about the mailbag, shall we?
That's where I think about physical therapy. Yeah.
So, I mean, it sounds like you're not the type of person that falls into the trap of labeling. So, when it comes to millennials, Gen X's, that kind of thing, that's something you really don't acknowledge, or because it's something, I think it's marketing from the media in some way to be able to market more things to people in certain groups and not calling it an age group.
Oh my God. Well, you should see what they serve me up on, on the pop-up ads. I mean,
In the AARP ad, you mean?
no, for a while it was persimmon scented soap from Japan that makes you not smell like old people. And they're super into I get all these ads for like being buried in the woods. And that's not where I'm going, people.
Right?
No.
Can I backtrack for
Yeah.
a moment?
Yes.
When you're talking
Please,
about...
get us off this one.
Yes. No, because I didn't want to interrupt your conversation, but I wanted to find out, with the disabilities you were experiencing, did that improve? What's the status of that? I mean, where are you with that?
So I was very lucky. Like, my curiosity started early while I was initially having the problems, and I would ask my my customers at the restaurant, like, hey, here's what's going on with me. What do you think I should do? And one of my favorite customers, she said, you need this kind of doctor. And it was a physiatrist, which is a Never heard of it. It is a soft tissue doctor. And she said, I know this guy. He is, I think he treats the 49ers and the Olympic ice skating team. And this is his discipline, and he's a really great doctor. So I got in with him, and he suggested some physical therapists. The physical therapist and I were a really good fit. And I just did it the same way. I have to rebuild my body. So I did every single thing that they ever told me. And in fact, I'm like proselytizer for body mechanics when people are having a hard time, because the things that they taught me helped fix me. And also, I trusted them so much that I said, I need a vocational rehab counselor. I understand that's the next step. I would like from all of you a list of the vocational rehab counselors who might be a good fit for me and understand me. Because you can imagine, I'm not everybody's cup of tea. So, and I didn't want somebody who was just going to say, who would suggest jobs that wouldn't be good for me. So the second person on their list, first person was unpleasant on the phone and busy. And the second person was just a super great fit. And I sing her praises to this day. So over time, because I wasn't doing the same work and I was doing exercises to help strengthen the parts of my body that needed to be in better alignment and stronger, I was able to do a lot more things. But I wore splints on my hands, custom splints, for years and years. It was many years later that I started playing an instrument. So it was like 7 years later when I picked up an ukulele. I was like, I don't know if I can actually play this without harming myself. But happily, as long as I don't do too much stuff, it's okay. But at the time that this was all happening, I was in constant pain for years, and I didn't know that that I would be able to have my body back.
Well, it's kudos to you, because you're the one that had the curiosity and the desire to learn more, talk to people, get information, get the right information, and find, as you said, the right fit. Because if they give you a list, like, well, he's first on the list, so it's got to be that person. But your determination to get better is what helped you. So obviously, kudos to you for all that.
And just so you know, the whole time I was terrified. I was broke, I was terrified, I was in pain, but I didn't have a choice. I saw this as not a choice.
Interestingly enough, too, I've heard from many doctors that I've seen in the past, said, they ask you, they leave you with certain instructions on what to follow and how to do them. Oddly and strangely enough, contrary to your story, most patients do not follow through and follow their recommendations from their doctors. They literally do not do that. So if they say you need to take this pill every other day, or you need to do this exercise or this type of therapy for yourself, seldom do people follow through with it, believe it or not. So it seems more kudos to you for your determination to getting better.
I'm mostly that person, just so you know. But
no.
But I operated on faith.
Okay. So Christine, who would play you in a movie?
Joan Cusack.
Okay.
Oh,
I get that.
good.
Yes, that was a good one.
Nice.
Like when I was waiting tables and Joan Cusack was in that movie Toys.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like wear some really funky stuff at work, and
Did you wear your clown shoes?
people would say, "You know who you remind me of?" And it was always Joan Cusack.
You didn't have a plastic
Nice.
wig, did you?
I didn't, but I
Surprised.
would wear these ribbons in my hair, like a bow that was like this big, or you know, an American flag. Yeah.
Have you taken advantage of any senior discounts? At the Sizzler, maybe?
Well, I'm kind of thinking that I need to revisit the Goodwill discount, because literally today I was planning for seeing you, and I realized I only have black T-shirts with slogans on them, or cats, or whatever. Marie Kondo. You know Marie Kondo?
Yeah.
Okay, so I do the Marie Kondo thing with my T-shirts, and I organize them by. There are T-shirts that are for work. There are the cat T-shirts. There are the sumo T-shirts and the baseball T-shirts. And yeah, so they're kind of organized that way. And I realized I have no way to show up for people when it's not casual any longer. So
But do they all bring you joy?
yeah. Also,
Okay.
Marie Kondo sells stuff now. She wanted you to get rid of everything, and now you can buy her stuff.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, you lady, you play a long game.
Probably things to organize the stuff that give you joy. So you can keep all those sumo T-shirts in some container of some kind that will fit in your drawer or in your closet.
Totally. But I
So,
digress.
so I'm out of the loop. What is this Goodwill discount?
So the Goodwill discount is, well, I need to investigate. I need to use my curiosity and get my money. Apparently, there's a senior discount at Goodwill. And when I turned 50, I tried to get my colleagues at work to go to Dennys with me so that I could order off the back of the page. They wouldn't do it.
I only did it once. It was in Hawaii.
I just
But
want
I
to go
did
there and
know
order
so-
the moon over my hammy so I can say that.
Right?
I'd like a moon over my hammy, please. It's amazing. It sings when you say it. Moon over my hammy.
Totally.
That's at Denny's?
Yeah.
It's
a classic.
So I did.
It's like,
Apparently, I need to get out more because I
And the
haven't-
Superbird.
didn't know about the moon over my hammy.
New
Or
title
the
for this
Goodwill
for the
discount.
topic for the
oh my
podcast.
gosh.
Moon over my hammy.
We can live podcast from Denny's and order off the back page together. I want to do it.
It's
That
a
sounds
date.
fun. So, sorry, I know I'm asking a lot of questions too, Gary, but let me just throw this one out
Yeah,
there. too.
you are.
Well, welcome to the podcast. Without, you don't have to divulge anything with regards to where your head is, but with regards to the future and politics and all the things that took place over the last few weeks, where are you at? Are you hopeful? Are you worried? Are you concerned? Are you not going to watch TV for a long time?
Such a good question. I have a lot going on in my life,
Mm-hmm.
and I need to keep it positive.
Yep.
And so my boss, very smart woman, has this saying that I use over and over and over, which is, don't borrow trouble. By which I mean, I will start worrying about this when things start happening. I can't do otherwise. I voted in a way that I thought was good for America. It didn't work out, and it's distressing to think that there are so many people who voted another way, and for people I know who, I feel like there's so many people who have more at stake, and I wish that I knew how to be helpful or what to do. And that's kind of where I am right now. If those things become more apparent, I would like to do them. It's horrifying.
I understand. I think it's important that we take care of ourselves first so we can take care of other people later.
Right.
To find a way to do, because we had a podcast previous to this one, Christine, where we kind of broke it down, and the fact is the result is the result, and you're not going to change the result. But I also don't want to buy into so much negativity from the rest of the world wringing their hands, convinced the sky is going to fall, when we haven't seen that yet, and we have to take care of ourselves first and mourn and deal with whatever the result is, because it's not going to change.
At this point, I don't think there's a thing to do.
Right.
It is not that
Agreed.
administration yet, but and I think it's I just don't know. I worry for friends. I worry for my friends who wonder whether they should get married right now because they can, or I worry that people are gonna get deported or and treated horribly and all of those things, but I need a slight break.
Yep.
And I feel horrible saying that. I feel guilty. The thing that I think is disappointing is every day it seemed like in the past 6 months there was a different way of thinking about it, like here's what here's how it's really going to go our way, or people are going to realize this, and really people had a lot of different reasons for wanting to vote that way, but I think it's horrifying.
Okay. And that's one of the reasons I agree with you, and that's one of the reasons why I've decided to sign off of any kind of cable network news. I'm not going to listen to it. I don't want it in my feeds. I don't want to see whatever anyone is saying about everything, because it's just too much. And I think it's important that, like I said before, we take care of ourselves first and heal ourselves to a point where we can decide how we're going to take part in the future.
Right. Gary, where are you in this?
So I checked out of social media after the election. I was still checking it, but I wasn't posting anything. I just needed a little mental break. So actually yesterday was because we had a new episode coming out. Okay, well I should help promote that. So I did go back on social media and I posted a couple things like of my mom and other photos I'd done. But I like Dawn, just kind of taking a step back. I mean, I'm not watching the news as much as I used to, just because I need to put that off to the side and take care of me a little bit more, mental health. So doing that, and then just trying to get out more, and just work on my health. I'm going through some working on my health, working on. I've always done trying to get more culture in my life, go to concerts and that. So just try and live my life and not let that distract me.
Yeah. I have to say, I was on a walking path at work and I saw somebody who I really like and respect who was coming, and she said, "Hey Christine, how are you?" And I was like, "I'm great," because I have a lot of stuff going on in my life right now, and when I'm at work, it's a fantastic distraction. And I saw her face kind of fall, and I'm like, oh shoot, I don't know how to respond now, because I know what she's thinking about. She's a person of color. She is raising 2 sons, and I turned around and just kept eye contact with her, and I said, I want you to know that I'm great when I'm with you. The greatness is about you. It's not about all of the stuff. So that I could make it personal and just, you know, like I care for my colleague. And
Yeah.
so I realized I had to really pivot on that because although she knows what's happening on my side, that probably wasn't top of mind for her as it should be, you know. So.
One question we ask for people of our age, because obviously you're still working, have you set a goal or a date of when you say, I'm going to officially retire? You may keep doing other things, but in terms of from this job or this career?
I have not. But I think about it. I'm planning for it. I don't have a date.
Hey, watch your mouth. And we're back. So we took a short little break. I had asked the question, do you have a time frame in mind of when you might retire? Because I know for me, I've kind of put a little check mark at 67. Because for me, I figure, well, 62, the old days, 62 was when you retire. Well, too young. I'm already 62. 65, yeah. And then after 67 comes 70. I thought, well, by 70, you know, I want to be still active enough that I can, because I love to travel, to be able to maybe do some traveling. So that's why I kind of, you know, targeted 67. So that's a quick 5 years away. That's how I manage it, but obviously everyone's different. So you said you hadn't picked a date, hadn't thought about it, or?
Well, I've thought about it. And I've thought about it, and I really love my job. I love what I do. I love who I do it with. I get to use skills that make me that reinforce my sense of self. That sounds so sappy, but
not at all.
No.
When I'm using my best skills, I feel a sense of pride and excitement. So my husband has been retired for a long time, and he wanted me to retire, but I kind of love what I'm doing, and I've really been thinking about it though, and thinking about, we'll get into this later, but I've spent a lot of time this last few years with other members of my family caring for my mom. So, and I keep expecting her to pop off, and she doesn't. She's going to be 97 in January, and I know she will be 97. And she's keeping us on our toes. And so, like, what would I do if I didn't have these very consuming things in my life, like my mom and my job? What's there that I want to be doing? And so I started going to therapy to kind of get ahead of that, like, because I've been good at pivoting when change happens to me, but I've been less skilled at making change happen for myself and making choices. So I know this about myself, so I went to therapy. And so that's kind of what I'm working on right now is there. I mean, most people are really excited about this, but I know that I also can just waste all that time. And what does that mean? So I'm trying to do the things that I'd wished I'd done earlier as far as therapy goes, and learning more about myself and how to take care of myself and how to make good decisions. And yeah, like you, I want to travel.
But it also comes back to full circle where we talked about earlier, where you didn't want to wait for life to happen to you. You're directing it towards a direction or a purpose, which is actually very important. And two, that there's nothing, you never have to apologize about loving your work. B, Gary's worked at, Gary, how long have you been at your place of employment?
Just past 36 years working for my boss.
Okay. There's nothing wrong with loving your job.
No, and to that point, how many people can really say they love their job, they love the people they work with, the environment that they're in, you find it challenging and interesting and, right? So not too many people can really say that.
I feel extraordinarily lucky.
Yeah.
I mean, and it has not been an easy road, by the way. We could talk about that too. But of all of my 24 years in this one job, I feel like it's the best version of my department, and I feel very supported and just grateful.
And I think a very common mistake that people have made is like, I can't wait till I retire. I can't wait till I retire. Maybe they don't love their jobs as much as obviously the two of you do, but also, what the hell are you going to do when you're not working? And of course, you're not basing your worth on what your job is, but you do provide a function and you're enjoying it. The fact is, when that void is there, so it takes a little, I think it's actually commendable to go to therapy to start thinking about what the possibilities could be, because a lot of people just jump into the water saying, I'm going to golf. How many times can you play golf?
Or people have grandchildren. They have things that they already know they want to spend more time doing.
Right.
So I'm not in that place yet.
And I'm not into spending time with children, so I don't think that's a part of my future either.
God, no. I don't even like being alone with them.
They scare me, actually.
Don,
All right.
I love you.
Well,
Now, Gary, on the other hand, likes children.
Yes.
Like, I remember you're talking about your nieces and nephews.
I have 8 nieces and nephews. Yeah.
And how much you enjoy being part of.
I never want any of my own, but I love having,
Yeah, you like spending time with them, and now they're grown up.
Yes. So just for the purpose of our viewers and listeners, during our quick little break, we did agree that we're going to have a second episode with Christine.
You promised, Christine.
I do.
Okay.
Because she referenced the fact that she and her siblings have been caring for her mother. And I think a lot of us, I know I can relate on some level to that. Don, maybe you can share some things too.
Absolutely.
But that's worthy of a whole separate episode, a separate conversation. And we will do that sometime in the new year. So to kind of wrap this one up.
Wait, I have one more question. I have one more question.
Sure.
If you were a plate of pasta, who?
Oh, Don, you messed this up.
I screwed it up. But it was such a good question.
I was going to lead into lighter questions, and that would have been one of them. Yes.
Oh, I was like, go ahead. You ask it, because I don't know how to ask it.
No, it's better the way you just left it, Don. I think we're just going to draw a veil of charity over that one.
I think what Don was trying to get across was, if you are a plate of spaghetti, how or who would eat you? I don't know where you came up with that.
That's not how it goes, Gary.
Oh,
okay, we're going to leave.
No, that's Don's interpretation. He thought it'd be like, who would eat you? Like, no. Although, I can come up with a couple names. But the question initially was, how would you eat me?
Am I in a to-go container on the side of the road? If so, crows with their beaks.
Gary, you might want to wrap this one up for us.
Yeah, let's just wrap this up right now. A big, huge thank you to Christine for joining us, and looking forward to talking to you again in the new year.
Oh, you guys, thank you so much. It's really fun to hang out with you.
Well, we have to go to Dennys still. We still have to figure that
one
out.
Can we figure this out? I really want it to happen.
Yeah, I think next time I come up to the Bay Area, we just have to figure out and jump over to the closest Dennys with our phones and just turn it on and just do a live cast from the back page of the menu. I love
and
that
the
idea.
Moon over my hammy. Is that
yes.
I don't think that's part of it.
Oh no! What about a Superbird?
Pardon?
Superbird's another. There's another sandwich called a Superbird.
Really?
At Dennys?
Yeah.
Okay.
Clearly, I'm not hanging out at Dennys as often as I should.
Wow.
Okay. So once again, we've fallen down another rabbit hole of fast food. So Christine, thank you so much. Thank you for promising to come back. I look forward to talking about it and the Antiques Roadshow, which we didn't get to yet. So I'll save that as another nugget. No, we'll save it as a nugget, just like the plate of pasta. Which is also going to be, don't forget, we're going to call the episode Rail Lickers. Rail Lickers, welcome Christine Freeman.
Love it.
So, Christine, thank you very, very much. We can't wait. Congratulations on all of the success of your life right now. Thank you for being yourself, who to me is incredibly entertaining. It's been great fun. We welcome you back in the new year as another part of this segment, and we're going to do a little deep dive with it too. So, very much appreciated.
I am honored. Hey, happy Thanksgiving and other holidays.
Yes, same to you.
Don't forget hashtag don't give Thanksgiving the shaft, because I've started that as a hashtag because everyone skips over Thanksgiving and goes right to Christmas after Halloween.
Sucks.
Right?
We can
Hashtag
do a
Christmas
whole segment on Christmas sucks. Thanksgiving's awesome.
Anyway, thank you again, Christine.
I mean, the food is awesome.
Yes. Do you cook it?
Oh, yeah, all of it.
Okay. All right. Well,
Mr. Freeman does the bird, and I do everything else while watching the parade and National Dog Show.
Okay, and don't forget, bird is the word.
Bird.
And we're back. We want to thank Christine Freeman so much for joining us. We enjoyed it so much, and we had so much to talk about that we are inviting her back for another episode. It'll be in the new year, and a bit more of a serious topic, but she did say there will be some levity included.
Yeah, she's just a delight to talk to. I remember her now. It's like such a unique personality, and we just scratched the surface of that too. So there's other stories that we have. So I can't wait to have her back.
It'll be
great job, Gary. You did really well.
Well, you're the driver of the bus.
Yeah, but you're. Never mind.
Go ahead. Say it.
You're telling me when to take a left turn, like left.
Get back on the main road.
So you want to close this out?
Yeah, so we're going to wrap it up. We just want to remind, thank everyone for joining us on YouTube and via your favorite podcast. We are available Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc., and all your favorite podcast channels, platforms, as well as YouTube. Email address, in case you want to get a hold of us, is donandgarydoing60@gmail.com. Social media, everything that has to do with Don and Gary doing 60. Instagram, Facebook. Did I cover all the bases?
I think you covered them all. And just for everyone's, we talked about this a second ago. If you're having trouble finding our channel on YouTube, it's actually under the Pfeiffer Pod channel in YouTube. There's a couple of podcasts to choose from. Of course, you'll choose Don and Gary doing 60. So if you're having any trouble with that, I'll put the address back up on our liner notes so you can find us and get a load of us.
We appreciate comments. We would love for you to subscribe. If you have suggestions on topics or you may be interested in being a guest, you can get a hold of us. So,
we'll find you. Even if you don't know you're interested in being a guest, we'll find you.
Yes. Okay. So until next time, thanks, Don.
Thanks, Gary. See you next time. Bye.
All right.